Hello YouTube, Miko1 here. I am here with another review. So I filmed the Tomb Raider review. I was in the middle of recording the Rise of the Tomb Raider review, and my camera died. And then I was going to film it today, but then I finished the Spider-Man game, because I thought the campaign was longer. Whoop-de-doo. So, I haven't 100% of the game. Like, I didn't get all collectibles, I didn't complete all the side quests. But I completed the campaign, and I loved the game a lot. Insomniac's Spider-Man. Is it the best Spider-Man game ever? Very much so. I guess the only competition is Spider-Man 2, but after playing Insomniac Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 does not age well. Especially when you don't have to deliver pizzas. Why was that in the game in the first place? Insomniac Spider-Man does so much right, but it also does so much wrong. But the good outweighs the bad. But there's a lot of bad to it. But there's a lot of good. And the good makes me love this game so much. It's my favorite PS4 game out right now. Yes, I've played God of War, but I have more problems with God of War than I do with Insomniac Spider-Man. I'm going to call it Insomniac Spider-Man instead of Spider-Man PS4, or just Spider-Man, because that's basically what it is Insomniac's take of Spider-Man. It's better than Amazing Spider-Man 2 game. That game sucks. I haven't played it, and I was going to get it, but when I go to GameStop to see how much it is used, it's $40. I'm like, fuck that. One, I'm not paying $40 for a game I know it's terrible, and two, all used games, the profits go to GameStop, not the game developers, but the game developers actually don't really deserve the money since they made a pretty shit game. Okay, so, if you don't know how the reviews go, spoiler free, letter grade, spoiler. I'm gonna go heavily into spoilers because I literally just completed it. I almost said the final boss, which is if you don't know anything about the game, you don't even know if he's in it. It's pretty obvious that he's in it, but they don't confirm nor deny. But he's in it. Just picture a guy in your head that you think is in the game. He's in the game. That's a lot of people. So the most obvious one. Okay, so I just completed the game. I'm gonna dive heavy into spoilers in the spoiler part of the review, and so let's get into the spoiler-free review. I can't talk. I'm just so excited because I love this game. So the story goes like this: Fisk, that's his name. I thought his name was Kingpin, but they kept on saying Fisk. I think, are they the same guy? I don't know. But, so Fisk is in the beginning. You put him to jail. That's not a spoiler. That's in the trailers. You put him to jail, and then the shitty goes to shit, and you, as Spider-Man, have to save it, with Martin Lee as Mr. Negative, behind it all. With Martin Lee behind it all. We'll get to then the spoiler review. And that's not a spoiler either, because that's literally in the very first E3 trailer. So, yeah. MJ's in the game. Miles is in the game. The story is really fucking good. You actually care about Peter's side of the story and not just the Spider-Man side of the story, and I thought that was cool. One thing I didn't know, is that a spoiler? I'll save it for the spoilers, because I didn't know that that was a thing when they said it in the game, so it might be a spoiler for some people. Some people might not know, but so like, there's Peter's side of the story, there's Mary Jane stuff, Aunt May stuff, I guess Miles stuff, And basically, the Peter stuff is actually like very you get very into it, and is very surprising because I didn't think I was gonna care so much about the Peter stuff because I thought I just wanted to be Spider-Man, 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 but literally the second mission is a Peter mission, and there's a character introduced, and then you're like, holy shit, I want to know more about the Peter stuff, and so like, of course, there's the Spider-Man stuff, there's the Peter stuff, and they combine very well. Let me so yeah, the story's really good. Um, you get so much pride and accomplishment when you defeat it. I would highly recommend you getting it and beating it. If you don't have a PS4, you're PC gamer or Xbox gamer. If you're a PC gamer, cool, you got 60 frames and like 1080. I'm a PC gamer. I'm a PC gamer and a PS PlayStation player. I do have an Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. I don't play them as much. I'm more of a PlayStation person in the console wars, and but like if you're a PC or an Xbox player, this game plus God of War and like Until Dawn and Last of Us, Uncharted, a bunch of other games, but this game is almost worth buying. Actually, it is worth buying a PS4 and playing it. The web swinging is fucking great. I don't remember much of the PlayStation of the Spider-Man 2 web swinging. I remember I remember playing it recently, like a few months ago. I was doing the web swinging, and I got very frustrated with it. Like I remember, like, why is everyone saying this is fun? This is very fucking frustrating. I might have not been so good at it. This one, Insomniac Spider-Man, is super fun, super easy, and like, it feels like you're going super fast, and it's honestly super fun. I highly recommend it way more than Spider-Man 2. The webs connect to buildings. I went into photo mode, and it does connect to buildings. The webs have to be connected to a building. Something has to be higher than you in order for you to swing. If you're in Central Park, you have to swing on trees. You can't swing over them because there's no buildings. And it's just so fun to web swing that I only use the subway, the fast travel thing, twice. Because you can go in the subway and fast travel. But I rarely went in the subway to fast travel because I love the web swinging way too much. The combat, when I went in, I thought it was going to be a lot like the Arkham combat from the Arkham games. It sort of, I keep stuttering. It's sort of like that. It takes liberties, but it does its own thing. It doesn't copy and paste the entire game mechanics and put it in their game, and the only difference is it's a different story. This game, yeah, it's like, yeah, you can beat them up, squares to punch. There is a counter button. It's called a dodge button, because you use the spider sense, you can dodge it, and you can upgrade it to like, because it's not a counter. In Batman, you hit triangle and you counter it. In Spider-Man, you dodge it, and if you upgrade it, you can dodge it and shoot web at them. So it's kind of like a counter. The combat is very hard. I played it on normal because I thought I'll play it on normal. It can't be that hard. But it's very inconsistent. A lot of guys can team up on you. Like you know how in Batman there's like 4 guys, and like if you're beating one guy up, you can like count like some guy, like they fight one at a time, sometimes 2 at a time, and you can counter 2. This game, if you're fighting one guy, 4 other guys can attack you at the same time, and you lose like 75% of your health bar, and it pisses you off a lot. So you have to keep your distance. It's actually helpful to stay in the air a lot, and use like your web attacks, go at them with the webs and throw objects at them, sometimes hitting them up in the air. But there's also enemy types that will force you down if you're in the air. Like, I know there's the guys with whips. They're not whips, but they have whip type stuff. Then there's an enemy type later on in the game I don't want to get into, because that's sort of a spoiler. They show up like halfway through the game. And, but yeah, the combat is a mix. Like, it takes liberties from Arkham, but also does its own thing, and that's really cool. And it's a lot harder. So if I were you, you don't want any challenge, you just want to go straight to the story, I highly recommend easy, because I don't know how easy is, because it's weird because you play on normal and the combat is hard, but the quick time events are super easy. Like, it goes super slow. It gives you like a 5-second prep time, and then like maybe like 2 seconds for you to actually do the quick time event. Like, it's super easy. But then the combat, it just a difficulty. There's a lot of difficulty spikes. Like, some missions will be like, oh, this is super easy. Then other missions like, what the fuck? Why am I dying so much? Like, I know when you start getting into like fighting the demons, which is Martin Lee's henchmen, they, if you get hit by them, they're stronger than a lot of enemies, and it's sometimes you think it's unfair, but it's just you have to memorize it. Because I know in the heat of the moment when I'm dying, I'm like, oh, this is bullshit, this is unfair. But in reality, it is fair. I just have to not play it like it's an Arkham game and play it like it's the Insomniac Spider-Man game. Also, the combat does get very repetitive at times. Like, I know there's parts of the story where, like, I'm just trying to, like, get through something. It's like, oh, there's henchmen, you have to fight them. Like, okay, I'll fight those henchmen. Then you fight those henchmen, you go to the next stream. Oh, there's more henchmen, you gotta go fight them. It's like, oh, okay, there's more henchmen, gotta go fight them. Then it's like, oh, there's more henchmen. I'm like, holy fucking shit, why is there so many henchmen? It's like, oh, there's waves. I'm like, why is there like a wave system? Like, wave 1, wave 2. It's like, what is this? And, so yeah, the combat does get very repetitive, and there's a lot of difficulty spikes. But all in all, when you get the combat down, you don't really care about how many guys there are, because then it gets super fun. But obviously, when like you get like punched and you get off, and you're off your game, just like you have a flow, you get hit, then your flow's all fucked up, and then you're like dying, and it's like, oh shit, well now I'm stuck, and then oh, there's more villains, and oh, there's more henchmen. It's like, it's just, it gets very repetitive, but also it's super fun. So it's a mixed bag with the combat, but all in all, overall, it's super good. Let's see, what else can I talk about without spoiling? Boss battles. There's boss battles like any traditional video game does. They overall are very easy. Like, they're basic, and like you learn what you have to do. Like, they don't. The thing is, they don't explicitly tell you you have to do this. You just kind of have to learn, but it's super easy. Like, you throw an object at them, sometimes they react and like, oh, that's what I have to do. And sometimes they don't, and like, oh, you don't have to do that. Or sometimes you shoot them with your webs. Some boss battles, you have to shoot them with the webs, sometimes you don't. And so you learn a lot. Like, I don't want to go into specific boss battles, I'll go with that in the spoiler review. But the boss battles are really fun. They're also really basic. Like, I know the final boss battle is super cool, very like climactic, and like it's super easy. Like, I know like I didn't die in the final boss battle. I almost died. I get a lot of health knocked off, but that's because like I get hit once, then like I get like off balanced, and basically it was just it was super easy. So like, if you don't like oversimplified boss battles, but what? So like, the boss battles are super easy but look cool. like you'll get a hang of it. It's pretty fun. Like if you don't like basic boss battles, then you might not like it. But it's like with classic Spider-Man villains, and you're having fun with it. So I kind of overlook the fact that they're basic boss battles because you're having fun with it. It's something that you can't, like, if you're watching the boss battle, it's like, oh, this is super basic. It's so stupid. It's different when you play it. Like, watching it is different than playing a video game. That's always the case. You can't get enough. You can't get the same amount of joy watching a game than playing it. That it is common sense. All right, so I think that's all I can talk about without getting into spoilers. So the letter grade I will give this is, drum roll please, I'm going to give it a solid A. No, I'm going to give it an A minus. I'm going to give it an A minus. It's almost a solid A. It's like, I don't know. It's a solid A minus. It's super good. It's almost perfect. There are some bumps in the road. I don't remember when it really dragged. Like, there's a few parts where it does drag. Like, some Mary Jane levels, like, I think there's like 4 or 5 in total. And, like, they're all really good. But 2 of them, like, I know the very first one, I don't like. I kind of hated it. And I remember playing them like, oh, is this going to be like every other Mary Jane level? And, like, the second one, I'm like, oh, this is really good. And another one, like, blew my mind. I'm like, oh my god, they actually did this. I really wanted this. Then, like, another one was like, oh, this is shit. So there are bumps in the road, but all in all, it's a super good game. It's an amazing game. It's a spectacular game. It's a game. But yeah, I would give this an A minus. I love this so much. I love it more than God of War, which is saying a lot because I love God of War a lot. But this game by far takes the cake because I grew up with Spider-Man more than God of War. And yeah, God of War changed the game, but so did Spider-Man, and we finally got a perfect Spider-Man in, like, the modern generation of games without having to remake Spider-Man 2, which, if they ever did, it would be so bad because there's the main missions, the side missions, then there's stupid shit like delivering pizzas with a very, very annoying piece of song. But, yeah, so I'm going to get into spoilers right now. Alright, so if you don't want to be spoiled, get out, because I'm going to go heavy into spoilers because I have so much to talk about. So, you've been warned because I'm literally going to go right into spoilers right now. Doc Ock's in the game, and I knew he had to be in the game, like, honestly, like, they sort of teased it, and, like, they wouldn't confirm nor deny if he was in the game. They didn't show him in any trailers. I think in one trailer they teased him, like, they showed the Sinister 5, because there's only 5 guys, and then, you know, Spider-Man sees something behind the camera as it pans up, and it's like, oh, is that Doc Ock? It is! Doc Ock shows up literally the second mission. Because Spider-Man is talking about, oh, Doc this, Doc that. I'm like, Doc? Is he going to talk about Doc Ock? And literally, like, his reveal is kind of like foreshadowing when he has the 4 arms. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's Doc Ock. That's Dr. Octavius. And he is the final boss battle. And like I said, the final boss battle was super easy. But just the fact that you're fighting Doc Ock, like, you kind of oversee how basic it is and how easy it is. Because it is sort of difficult. Like, there is a difficulty spike, but it's not, like, overwhelmingly hard. Like, I beat it first try. Like, in fact, I think all my boss battles I beat first try. I never died in a boss battle, but it was just, like, the boss battles are easy, but there are, like, difficult parts in the boss fights. And I think the most hardest boss fight was the final boss, not the final, Martin Lee's boss fight, the one right before Doc Ock's. Because I think it's like 2 or 3 Martin Lee boss fights, and cause I know, cause there's that. That was a hard one, and then another one that I kind of got stuck in was, the Rhino and Scorpion boss fight, because I didn't know how to beat them. Like I said, they don't tell you how to beat them. It just they throw you in. And it's like figure it out. Um, so yeah, you beat the Sinister Six. I think my favorite boss fights were Doc Ock, and then Vulture and Electro. I really like that one, and I really like the Martin Lee one, the final Martin Lee one. It's just that it sort of got into bullshit territory. Like, what the fuck is this? Because like Martin Lee's doing stuff, but then it's like hundreds of henchmen on you. Like, how? What the fuck am I supposed to do? There's like so much going on, but this, but yeah, so, ooh, uh, but yeah, so like Doc Ock's the main villain. Like it wraps around, like you think it's Martin Lee. It's Martin Lee for a while, until like you put him to jail, and then there's a prison breakout, and then all your enemies break out, including Martin, and then it turns out Doc Ock was behind it, and because Doc Ock has fully turned evil. Like he was there wasn't really a slow uh incline to his turn. It's like Doc was super nice, and then uh there was hints that, oh, this is gonna damage your brain, uh and make you act as something you're not. And then there was like one cutscene where he gets super angry at Norman, and that's kind of like, oh, he's evil now. And like the transition, I didn't mind that it was so quick, because I knew it was gonna happen, so I didn't really care about it. But there was no really like arc to it. But there was a lot of foreshadowing, like the arm, like he's working on arms. It's like, oh, you're working on arms, huh? Are you gonna make 4 of your own? And then, what do you know? He makes 4 arms. It's like, oh wow, that's something. And coincidentally, when he creates his octopus arms, Doc Ock arms, that's like this cutscene where he turns evil. And Miles Morales does get bit by a radioactive spider, which I kind of like, because the post-credit scene shows that Miles shows Peter that he has powers, and Peter reveals that he is Spider-Man, and he shows him his powers. So that kind of implies that there might be a sequel, which I am so up for. I can't wait for that, and like I'm so excited. But Aunt May dies. That was very unexpected. I didn't think Aunt May was going to die. That I I didn't think they were gonna do that. And then like there's a tombstone, like Ben Parker, May Parker was like, oh shit, that damn. So they kill off Aunt May. Oh, and also Peter and MJ broke up, and I was like, wait, what? That happened? Like, I don't know if that was ever in a trailer or anything. If it was, I didn't see it. Because I didn't see all the trailers for Spider-Man. I know I saw the first one like a dozen times, or maybe 100 times. And then I saw like others. But but I did pre-order it. I pre-ordered the digital deluxe edition, and so I didn't know they broke up. And like, oh, MJ and Peter broke up? I didn't know that. They do get back together at the end, and it does end very abruptly. Like they kiss, done. I was like, oh, okay, that's the end. The entire series is on my YouTube channel, and yeah, the game was just really good. Like I really went into the flaws. The story was overall really good. The Mary Jane mission I really liked was you're Mary Jane and you're telling Peter or Spider-Man which enemies to take out. I'm like, oh, I thought that was really cool, because that's what I would have done. Because that was like a lot of missions are like super cool because it's not all, oh, Spider-Man fights guys or Spider-Man stealth take guys. There's also Mary Jane missions and Miles missions. Um, Not all of them are winners. I didn't like this. I mean, I like the second Miles mission, but there's also like a bullshit moment that if you saw the series, you would have known. Um, all in all, it's a super good game. I highly recommend it. I recommend buying it, completing it. Um, I didn't get all the suits. Since I got the digital deluxe edition, I have the Iron Spider suit. Then when I unlocked the Homecoming suit or the Stark suit, I used that suit for a while. Like half of the game I played Iron Spider, then the last half I played as the Stark suit, the Homecoming suit. And if you collect, I think if you collect all the backpacks, you get the homemade suit from the MCU. Uh, in Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's the suit he wore when he fought the Vulture, or like all the in Civil War when he shows clips of Spider-Man. It's that homemade suit. So all in all, it's a super fun game. I highly recommend it. It's like I said, it's an A minus. It's a near perfect Spider-Man game, and it is it. This game like defines Spider-Man. There's so many like wonderful shots. You can take a selfie at Uncle Ben's tombstone, which is really fucked up, but I did that. And yeah, it's just a super fun game, and it is worth every penny. Thank you all so much for watching this review. If you liked it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and possibly comment. I'll see you all in the next video. So, adios. Fuck you.